Hi everyone, Titus here for part 12 of the Qbert mini-series, and in this video we'll be making the main menu title screen so our player has a proper way to interact with this prototype. Let's not waste any time and jump right into it. Alright, starting off we're going to create a widget, so we'll right click, go to user interface, widget blueprint, and then user widget. Call it WBP underscore main menu. Open this up and start to build it. First thing every widget needs is a canvas panel, so we'll drag one out, zoom in there, and then I'm going to drive this with a vertical box, so I'll drag that out here, go to my anchors, I'm going to hold control, anchor top center, go back, hold shift, and then top center again, and I think that looks pretty good. I'm also going to check the size to content. And then we're going to add our first text element. So when you do this, make sure you add your text element inside the vertical box. And then I can select that. I'm going to call this one Titus Spray Presents. And then we'll choose, I guess just like a random font, something different. I'm going to try size 50, and then maybe do a fun color, maybe red. Alright, and then I'm going to want a space, so you can actually run a search for a spacer. You can drag that into the vertical box, and then I'm going to go back and drag a text into the vertical box. And this text I'm going to have say Qbert. This one I'm going to use maybe pixel 1 for the size. I'm going to do maybe 200, and then maybe I'll do like a yellow. Alright, and then we're going to need a another spacer, so we can run another search. And the spacers just give us the ability to kind of, as the name implies, space everything out. We'll make the adjustments a little bit later though. Now the next thing I'm going to do is actually a button. So I'm going to drag that into the vertical box. And then inside the button, I'm going to drag a text element. So it's a child of the button, and that is important. And the first button I'm going to do is just going to say play. And I'm going to have this be the Pixel 2 font. Maybe do a 65. So it kind of looks like that. Now I'm going to go back to the button, and we're going to expand out the style. You'll notice a normal, hovered, and press option. So for the normal, which is what you see, we're going to expand that out. And I don't want it to show, so I'm going to set the draw as to none. And then for the hovered, I want it to show, but I don't want it to be as opaque. So I'm going to maybe do a 0.3. And then for the pressed, I'm going to leave that kind of like the defaults there. And I think that'll look fine. And then once I have that set, I can actually right click on the button and go to duplicate. That way I have my second button and I don't need to change too much besides some of the text elements. And this one's going to say quit. Now I'm going to go to the button elements and I'm going to rename the actual button to quit. And the button for play is also going to be named play, because you'll notice that these are actually variables. And that's important because we're going to actually run some code through these buttons. The other thing to note is, I just noticed here, the hover is going to be a little bit wide. So for the style, I'm going to hit center, and then I'm going to do that for quit as well. That way it doesn't make the whole square white, just the margins of the button, I should say. Alright, then we're going to come into another spacer, drag that into the vertical box, and then I'm going to add a text element. And this text element is just going to say, let's see, We'll do TM and push Windows flag period, and let's choose a copyright symbol. And 2024. And then I want that to be centered. The size, maybe is 40, is probably gonna be too big. Let's change the font. Let's see what this looks like. Let's do pixel 2. Maybe let's try 30. Yeah, I think that's all right. So we'll do 30 for that one. And then we'll duplicate it. And for this text, maybe we'll just call it Noob Industries Company Limited. Some legalese. And I think that looks pretty good just like that. So now if we want to actually start setting up the code, there's not much here. So you can just hover over the play button, scroll down at the bottom. There's an event function for on clicked, on press, release, hovered, etc. We'll do one for just on click. And then when we hit play, we just want to open level by name. And we'll call this level 1. Or whatever level you want to open, doesn't really matter. And then if we go back to designer view, we can highlight the quit button, scroll down, and then on click, we just hit the little plus sign. And we can call a function called quit game. Compile and save. And then that pretty much completes the widget. So now let's actually find a way to call this. To do this effectively, let's create a new level. So let's go to our levels. We'll do file, new level. We'll just create an empty level. And then we will save this current level as main menu. And then in this level, we can go to the level blueprint. And under the begin play, we could run a create widget. The widget we'll create is going to be our main menu. We could promote it to a variable in case we need a reference to it later. I don't think we will, but main menu HUD reference. It's always good to have and not need than need and not have. We can drag off this and do add to viewport. That'll actually put it on the screen. And now we'll want to cast to Qbert. And then off the object pin here, we can do get player character. And then as Qbert, we can make a reference to our character movement script, because the character movement script has a function called movement mode. So we can do set movement mode. And we can set that to none. And that won't, that should hopefully affect like things like gravity and other things. Technically our movement code is custom, but we're still impacted by things like gravity. So we may actually not need this. I didn't actually look into that. So this may be optional. You can kind of try it without it and see. But the thing that we really need to do is get the player controller. And then off the player controller, there's a show mouse cursor or set mouse cursor. And we want to check that to enabled on this level so the player can see what they're interacting with, because during the main menu you don't see like the mouse cursor at all. Alright, and then just with that, if we go back to the main level, hit play, you can see our widget. It's a little bit high, so we might need to set with some of the spacing here. So let's go back to the widget. The first spacing, I'm going to maybe do 100. And then the spacing over here, I'll maybe do another 100. Compile and play. And that looks a little better, but you can see a basic title screen. So now we can hit quit, and it'll quit the game. If we hit play, it's going to load level 1, zooms us in, and then we can actually begin play. Now, one thing we can change is in the our win widget, one of our game over states, our win condition states. There's code in here that opens a level after playing the win animation. So before we're loading level 1. If you decide to make level 2, you can load that one instead, but if you're just doing one level, we can actually probably just load the main menu. So we compile and save that, hit play. And now if I did that right, and assuming I can beat the game, we can see if it loads up our widget. Trying to avoid Coily the snake here. And this is just like a simple prototype. You can kind of take this as far or as long as you want to take this. Add different functionality. Qbert also has a few other enemies that have the ability to flip tiles as well, so that can maybe be fun to add those in. Let's see what we got here. And there we go. We got our main menu back, and then we can quit or play. So not too bad, but pretty simple. All right, everyone. This concludes the title screen portion of the Qbert series. And in the next and last video of the series, we'll add the special effects to give a little more life to our game mechanics. But as always, thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and see you on the next one.